Ninjago is a show that is beautifully animated by the likes of Will Film and also WildBrain. Both of these companies do a stellar job at delivering this amazing 3D animated world. But every once in a while we see them forego the 3D environment and they switch over to the 2D animation style. This isn't often by any accounts, to the point where when they do it, it is notable. But the thing is that how those 2D eras have evolved has certainly been interesting. And that is going to be what I discuss with you guys today. Talk through each and every single time we saw 2D animation when it did come to Ninjago. Talk about how they used it and what the impact was, and discuss whether or not 2D animation even has a place in Ninjago. I think it's fairly fascinating, and I want to know what you guys think. So, let me not waste any more of your time, and let's talk about Ninjago's 2D era. The first official outing of 2D within Ninjago was in the episode The Absolute Worst. Yep, let's get into this one. This episode surrounds some of Ninjago's previous main villains and fugitive, also talking about their experiences with the ninja. However, it's their fabricated version in a way to make themselves look a lot better. Their flashbacks are shown off in the 2D aesthetic, and it really does lend itself pretty well to what they're trying to portray. For the first time we get to see this animation, it was actually pretty good. We got to see a lot of fluidity, we got to see a lot of interesting animation details as well. We got to see elemental power be used, quite interesting, and we also got some interesting forms for the ninja, like Zane's 4-legged, 4-armed build. There was a lot of really good stuff here, and it was definitely something that a lot of people were definitely curious about. This was new, like I said, this was the first outing, so it just had fans very naturally curious. But it was definitely a good first impression nonetheless. It was definitely what made people want more in terms of this art style. And it turns out that we were going to get more of it in the same season nonetheless, which was definitely a nice and welcomed addition. The next time we got to see the 2D animation came from the episode The Last of the Formlings, and again it was used in a flashback sequence. This was used to show Akita's upbringing and how she actually unlocked her Formling abilities. This was a very nice contrast to The Absolute Worst. Instead of using the animation for this high octane, high energy type fighting situation, we instead got it in a much more calm sense. We got to see how the land adapted in accordance with just simply put Akita's life, and I really do like how it did come across. It also gave us the opportunity to see the likes of the Ice Emperor in the 2D animation. Really is just accomplishing something very special here. This and the first episode really did come together to show us what was actually going to be in terms of 2D animation. This definitely did have a lot of fans very interested and very excited as to what could actually come from it as well. But the thing is that it unfortunately wasn't until 2 seasons later where we actually got to see it again. But still, on an overall, in terms of its first outing and its first technical era, it was really good. The next time we got to see the 2D animation came from season 13's episode Dungeon Party. This is where we got to see a backstory surrounding the lowly on a quest to actually get their hands on what an ancient skull was. We got to see them travel amongst the lands, we got to see them eventually come across then the actual kingdom of Shintaro. It was a really fascinating thing to see because we actually got to see many environments, we got to see a lot of different design choices, and we got to see many of the characters from that season in a different stylization. It was a fantastic little bit of 2D animation. The only time we actually got to saw it in the season, but that was honestly fine. I was really happy when we actually got to see this. Like I said, it definitely did feel like an expansion on what we got on both of the times before now. But what's a shame is that this is then actually the last time we got to see this in the 11-minute era. In Seabound, in the Island, and also in Crystallized, we got no more of this style, which is a massive shame because it did really feel like the Dungeon Party was a perfect combination of the two. But honestly, this might just simply come down to the fact that for the most part, that we just got to see a situation where there was no more real necessity for it. Many of the times that we actually got to see the 2D animation was simply for flashbacks, and well, we just didn't really get all that much of that beyond that point. So it kind of went by the wayside, but luckily it returned, but in a different sense. Because that's when we got to the 10-year anniversary of Ninjago, where a new era of 2D began. In one of the legacy shorts for the anniversary was the episode Golden Legend, and in there we got to see a completely new stylization. It was amazing, it was fantastic, it got a lot of praise from the Ninjago community and even beyond it, to the point where more of it was actually commissioned, and that is now what we know as Ninjago Legends. We got to see a whole new wave of what we got to see when it did come to this new art style. And it was used in a different sense as well. Instead of being used essentially for backstories, we actually got to see it used to tell its own stories. We got to hear about Kai within the land of monsters. We got to hear about the adventures of the future. We got to see so many different things when it did come to this new art. And again, people were absolutely loving it. People wanted just more and more and more. And luckily, we still are. Because that brings us to the final time of 2D animation being used in Ninjago as of the time of filming. As of current, we are about a month away from Ninjago Duskfall. We are going to see a brand new entry into the Ninjago extended universe with this amazing looking art. And from what we've seen so far, it does look brilliant. We got to see so much in the way of how Ninjago could look when you do take advantage of these different looks. And honestly, it is just amazing to see. But this is now what brings us to the final overall question. Now we've seen every time 2D is being used in Ninjago, does it belong in Ninjago? Is it something that should be used more in the future? Is it something that we should actually have when it does come to this franchise? And honestly, yeah. By all accounts, give us more. It has given us so much opportunity for so much more when it does come to Ninjago that it's absolutely amazing. I couldn't imagine Monstrosity or Duskfall or any of those flashbacks in any other art side. I absolutely adore what they are doing here, and I definitely do think it fits perfectly when it does come to this show. I think honestly though, it shouldn't be really used much more when it does come to Ninjago itself. The closest we got was season 4 episode 8 of Dragon's Rising, where we got to see some 2D depiction of Beatrix actually in the land of monsters. I think that's fine, but I think reserving the 2D art style purely for extended content like Monstrosity and Duskfall is the perfect balance. Keep Ninjago to this 3D animated style because they very much succeeded in that way, and leave the 2D to the extended universe. I think it's the perfect distinction between the two and definitely does allow both styles to thrive without counteracting each other. Honestly, keeping them separate is the best way forward, but also I could see him continuing to do it with the two in hand. Honestly, either situation's fine as long as it continues to look as good as it actually does look. But I would love to know, do you like the 2D art style when it does come to Ninjago? Do you like the more anime-esque stylization, and do you want to see more of it? How would you like to see it, and what is your favourite era of 2D animation? Do you like it to be used as flashbacks, or do you like it in extended content? I would love to know what you think because it's certainly an interesting topic, and obviously one that people will agree and one will disagree with. All I ask is that you all just remain civil. But thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people. And if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each of your support means the absolute world to me, and I truly cannot thank you enough. But like I said, that's about it for today, and take care. Okay,